Turning now to the big national story, funding for our nation will run out Tuesday if Congress cannot reach a deal to pay to keep the government open. You see a live look here at our nation's capital, and joining us now live, someone who knows that location very well, Congressman Tom Cole, of course, from Oklahoma. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I think our viewers would be very interested to know your key role in all of this. When we say appropriations, sometimes that, it's just a word we throw out. What exactly does that mean, and what's your role in this?
Well, I'm the chairman of the Appropriations Committee. We produce 12 different bills that fund different aspects of the federal government. We've gotten all 12 bills of ours out of committee, so we're ready to sit down and negotiate with our Democratic colleagues. The Senate's a little bit behind us, but they're actually ahead of where they've been in the past, to be fair. They have 6 bills out of committee, 3 across the floor, as do we. So we're ready, and we actually passed a bill on Friday to extend the deadline from September 30th to November 21st.
Right.
We've got 3 bills ready to go now, and then we would put together another package of 3 and keep moving. But at the last minute, and this was actually not my counterparts on the Appropriations Committee, Democratic leadership decided to throw in some things that have nothing to do with appropriations. They want to undo what was done on Medicaid reform in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. Republicans aren't likely to do that. Then they also want to extend some COVID-era Obama support payments that were done at the height of COVID. They're supposed to run out on December the 31st of this year.
Health insurance.
Health insurance subsidies. I think that actually could be an article of negotiation. Doesn't belong with us, but the president's been pretty careful not to rule that out. So is the Senate Majority Leader. So, but putting it in this, if you put all the Democratic demands together, there would be about $1 trillion more in spending over a decade, not over a year, but over a decade, for a 4-week extension. Or 7-week if they went our way. That's not likely to happen. So there's a possibility for a deal here or a short-term shutdown. I don't think it would last long, but it's dangerous. It's disruptive. It's you're playing with a couple million people's paychecks.
Lives.
Right.
Yeah, and lots of us live paycheck to paycheck. It's pretty hard. You got a mortgage payment, you got a car payment, you got to take care of your family. So it's just irresponsible. We've got a clean bill. There's nothing in it. Even the Democrats acknowledge, look, there's nothing partisan about this. It's just keep everything like it is and let's negotiate our normal bills.
Well, I know Democrats say that they would like to negotiate more. They want you in Washington right now. And
I'll be in Washington on Saturday. I'm actually going up there early.
But
he has to be here first. He had an appointment with KOCO.
Nothing more important than that.
Right. But I do know that, the deadline is on a certain day. Technically, Republicans are not scheduled to return until after the deadline. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely correct about that.
And so they say that the Republican caucus really should be there because obviously there's disagreements.
Well,
there's a dedeadline. The Senate rejected the GOP deal.
To be fair, the Senate has to produce something. I mean, we've produced, and we have produced and sent over a bill. They have rejected it, but they haven't sent us back anything. So we can't do anything until they act. So
if they act, I apologize for cutting you off.
No.
But you're not your caucus would not be there in D.C. in order to react in time. I guess is the criticism.
Actually, we've been put on alert that we might need to call you back. But but we're not scheduled to be there. You're quite correct about that. I will be there, and I'm the lead negotiator on these things in terms of the appropriations piece. Now, the other things, but again, I'm not, because they're not the jurisdiction of our committee. And our leadership would make a decision. So, look, we can be there and move very quickly. But just having people hanging around while we're watching the Senate when we've done our part, and they just have to produce something. And whatever they send us back would be bipartisan.
Right.
Because it would have to get 60 votes. So then we would respond to that. But to have people just hanging around, I mean, the Senate likes us all to hang around and watch them, but the average member would rather be home with their families or their district. Say, hey, as soon as you got something, call me. And if you get it beforehand, they'll bring them up beforehand, almost certainly.
We were talking about people's lives and potentially losing a paycheck or two. We have covered these government shutdowns before, and we've talked to you about these. I know you personally don't like them. You've said that they don't work. The White House Budget Office has directed federal agencies to plan for mass layoffs, from what we are told, instead of these furloughs. What's your reaction to that?
Not happy about that. Look, we have a lot of federal workers in Oklahoma, and particularly in my district, 16,000 at Tinker Air Force Base, 6,000 down at Lawton. We have the National Weather Center in Norman. We have, I can go through the list. And these are all, we've lost almost nobody at our facilities because these are all really important national jobs. So, but I don't like creating that uncertainty that people know, look, if I'm in a shutdown, is my job at risk? In the past, we've always brought people back. We pay them for the time that they weren't there, still inconvenience them, and there's never a guarantee. But they certainly shouldn't have to worry about their job. So that's not something I would support.
One of the criticisms that I'll hear a lot is that, hey, listen, Republicans, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the White House. Why can't they do that? But they conveniently don't point out that you need 60 votes in the Senate. So do you think that is a fair criticism, or that it's missing a very key point?
Well, I think it is missing a very key point. And the Democrats actually tried to get rid of the filibuster that's giving them the power to do this right time. The only reason why they didn't is two of their own members, Kyrsten Sinema from Arizona and Joe Manchin from West Virginia, both of whom are gone, kept them, and they wouldn't even be at the table today. Now, the Republicans have defended the filibuster constantly. They theoretically, if they wanted to, could change the rules and get to 51. They won't do that. I don't think they particularly should do that. But again, it's up to the Senate. But no, I mean, obviously we don't have all power. If we had all power, this question would be settled. They can only do it because the rules of the Senate. This is not in the Constitution. This is not the law of the land. This is a Senate rule that the Senate has chosen to keep, modify from time to time over the years. But that gives them the ability to do it. And to my colleagues, to their credit, don't want to change the rules in the middle of the game. They think that would be unfair. So, but we have to wait for them to do something. And again, anything they do will be bipartisan. They don't send it back to us, and we'll react. But right now, it's sad that they couldn't approve a clean CR. There's nothing in it. It just buys more time. We would get 3 or 4 bills done. We'd start a sequencing. And instead, they put things that have nothing to do with government funding in this as my condition to vote to fund the government. And they're doing exactly what Republicans did over Obamacare in 2013. That did not work out well.
Let me quickly ask you this. I know we have to wrap soon, but as the Appropriations Chair, and we've talked about just the consequences of the decisions that are being made, really with you at the helm, helping drive this ship, the funding for the entire United States government. Do you enjoy this?
I enjoy it when it works well. Yeah, of course. Look, nobody up there is a draftee. We're all volunteers. So if you don't like it, quit and go do something else. And we have huge federal interests in Oklahoma. Again, Tinker, Fort Sill, 3 other major military installations, National Weather Center. So being able to protect those things, which we've been able to do, there were calls to cut some of those things. None of those cuts have happened. None of them are going to happen. That puts me in a good position to look after the folks that I'm supposed to represent and to try and contribute to the national debate. I'm a very lucky person, very privileged person.
Congressman, thanks so much. Congressman Tom Cole with us. You're welcome anytime, sir.
Thank you for having me.